Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Raphael,
And I'm Dr. Celia Lam.
and today we're going to be talking about the issues of bromance, womance, and what we call buddy banter.
Right, yeah, so we've been writing about bromance for a while, and we've been having a lot of fun writing about bromance and talking about the sorts of dynamics between a number of different male actors of different ages. But we've been finding that the sorts of terms we've been using and all the theoretical terms we've been using doesn't really allow us to talk about close female celebrity friendships.
Whether it's women together or women with men, either way, it's an issue.
It is an issue, yeah, because we were trying to talk about Amy Poehler and Tina Fey.
Amy Poehler and Tina Fey are so well known for their friendship. It's something that's celebrated within the media, something they talk about a lot. But there's not really a term for their friendship like a term like bromance. And as we've written about, there's terms like womance and homance, which we do not approve of. And there's nothing really to capture that sort of friendship. So, and as we've been researching this further, we've also noticed things like a lack of a term for when males and females have a very close friendship, which is non-romantic and just pure friendship, but very, very close. And so one of those examples that we looked at was Jennifer Lawrence with James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as part of the X-Men film franchise.
Because, I mean, in the films, there's such equals, and the dynamic across the three films. I think somebody, one of the directors mentioned, or one of the cast mentioned it, that the three films are essentially about each one of them. So the first one was about Charles and James McAvoy. The second film was about Mystique, really, and Raven. And the third film was about Magneto, in a way, if you just look at their individual stories.
His relationships.
And his relationships and how they come to grow as characters. Mystique is pretty much settled and she's embraced her identity as Mystique by the time she gets to Apocalypse. But there's no equivalent way to talk about the three actors off screen with the same sort of parody or the same sort of equality. Because if we look at their dynamic, when they're talking in interviews and when they're interacting with each other, they're actually treating each other as equals.
That's true.
And, you know, we've written about the bromance between James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, but we can't really fit Jennifer Lawrence into that.
And yet
equation.
they all share the same banter, the same, style of humour, which is usually often quite crude, and it's brilliant. They've got such a great dynamic, but there is no word to include her, and by excluding women, that's a real issue within society, obviously.
It's a big issue. I mean, it's a perpetuation of a lot of the sorts of male-dominated discourses that a lot of women in Hollywood are trying to fight against. And I think it's great that you have the sorts of films where women characters take center stage. But when they're written about, I think, what was it, Heat?
Yes,
One of the films that it was described as being...
Sandra Bullock and... what's her name again?
Melissa
McCartney, yes.
Yes, they were described as being... They had an amazing chemistry.
Yeah, really great. On screen and off screen. So in the interviews as well as obviously in the film,
But it was described as being a buddy cop with women.
Yeah.
I mean...
Which is just really long and descriptive and doesn't actually work as a term.
No.
Yeah.
Let alone when you're trying to sort of talk about these sorts of dynamics and what they might mean. Because obviously the bromances are playing with intimacy between male characters with sort of otherwise straight males. And so it's enabling us to think about how we present certain forms of masculinity, how we normalize certain forms of intimacy between males. We're unable to do that when it comes to talking about how we characterize or normalize or even discuss intimacy between females.
And so we've come up with the term buddy banter, obviously coming from this idea that they do become buddies as a formed friendship. And the banter, which we find is one of the most significant parts of representing these sorts of friendships. It's sort of a test of how close they are when they can, have these in-jokes which are shared through interviews, and they can, talk about more personal things and bring that into the humour they use as well. And so this is where that term came from. And we've looked at a variety of examples. One of the first ones we looked at was the Marvel TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah. And with that whole dynamic, there was, 3 cast members that were male and 3 that were female. So it was literally 50-50, both equally significant in terms of creating this sort of dynamic. And so we thought it was really important to create a term that represented both the male and female bonds.
Yeah, and and it's a varied term because it sounds a little bit like a very general term, but it encompasses a lot of different types of interactions and dynamics within the big group.
Exactly.
Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to describe a group dynamic.
Yes.
Aren't we?
And it includes bromance within our term, and womance, if you want to use that term, it is included in that. So it could be, the buddy banter could be between two females, it could be between a male and female, or it could be between two males, or, as you said, a group dynamic, so there may be several people in that group.
Yeah, and they could have sort of romantic undertones or sort of romantic undertones, or they could have really intimate undertones that doesn't really lead to anything, or there could be something there.
Yeah.
But it's just a way of trying to talk about how people interact as groups rather than being as pairs. Because I think even womance is too limited and too restricted to just talk about two people.
Yeah.
Because often a cast is a cast, it's a group of people.
Yeah.
And the dynamic is shared between people.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think the other key issue to look at is that these examples of buddy banter is being used to advertise their films and shows to us. So understanding it is really important, as well as understanding it as a fan. So if you are enjoying and consuming these interviews as entertainment alone, then that's great, but understanding where that's coming from is really important.
Yeah. And hopefully, we will continue to use it when we're writing about it, because we want to keep exploring the dynamics and expand beyond just couples and the rather limited and restricted things that we can talk about. We're only looking at couples. So we'll continue to use it. We hope it catches on.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.